slide, Jeremy?
Yep.
These two cars are going on.
I'll do it.
Comes out.
Oh, no.
That's okay, no, that's better.
That's better, okay. Okay, so if we go to the next one, little introduction. My name is Mika Mitchell, and I am a broker associate with Remax Terrasol. We're down in Huntington Beach at Atlanta and Beach Boulevard. I've been doing this, selling residential real estate since 2004, and I focus a lot in Huntington Beach. We also have a guest here next is Lorraine Rodriguez that you met right here.
Hi, Brian.
Lorraine is my lender partner, and the three of us have put this together today. And she works with lead lending, and she's going to be speaking later about financing. Okay, and then the next one, we also have Jeremy right here, Jeremy Smith. Jeremy is our title representative from Lawyers Title, and later on he's going to be speaking to you a little bit about some title information. Okay. Okay, so today we're going to cover a number of things. One of them is what an ADU is. Okay, why build an ADU? What spaces can be converted into an ADU? How you start the process? Some typical construction costs. The actual effect on your property taxes, also how it's going to increase your property value, rental considerations, and then how you would finance it, how you would cover it. Okay, so first thing is, what is an ADU? Okay, so traditionally we all call them branding units. I think most people, when I say the word, they don't even know what I'm talking about when I say ADU, right? It's very unknown right now. But an ADU is a living space that is independent from the existing living space. So it's gonna, it has to have its own living area, sleeping area, cooking area, and bathroom facilities. Okay? It also has to have its own access. If you're gonna have someone living in a separate quarters, you have to have another way to get in. Okay? So the reason this is coming up is Governor Brown, back in September of 2016, passed Senate Bill 1069, SB 1069. If you guys want to Google that, you'll see more information about it. Everything came up because of our California housing crisis. I believe we're about 3 million units short of what 3.5 million units short of what our demand is right now for housing. So the bill replaced the term second unit with accessory dwelling unit, or ADU. This bill allows ADUs in single family or multi-family residential zones to provide additional rental housing stock. And this is again trying to alleviate this crisis that we have here in California. New bills are being passed constantly, so this is an ever-changing subject. Hi there. Okay. So I'm going to encourage you through this slide presentation to definitely be checking up on the most current codes. Okay. Do you guys have any questions so far? Okay. So why would you consider building an ADU? A lot of reasons, really. Okay. Extra living space for a family member, right? Living space for a caretaker. Maybe you have a maid or someone taking care of a family member. Space for them. Big one, rental income. I always used to tell my parents, you have this land that maybe has a really big backyard just sitting there, and you can make money on that now. I mean, now it's okay through California to do this. It could also be retirement housing for a loved one. You know, oh, mom's getting sick, she's up in Pasadena, move her down into a little one-bedroom unit in your backyard. What's a better place to put her, right? Or the opposite, you could move into the back if it's you're an empty nester and you have this big house that you don't need anymore. You could live in the back, move your kids into the front. Kids can't afford to buy anymore, right? So it's a really good opportunity to live with your family. Or living quarters as you rent the primary residence. That's another one. So what kind of ADU is right for you? ADUs can be 100% new construction, it could be a whole freestanding unit, or it can be converted from existing living spaces. So we'll go over that next. Okay, so right now you are actually okay to change your garage. you could actually convert your garage into an ADU. If you have one of those funky enclosed patios that are so ugly, not all of them, but a lot of them are really awful, you could actually convert that into an ADU. Or in your house, you can take a portion of your house, as long as, again, you've got a living area, a bed, a sleeping area, a kitchen, and a bathroom. Is that Gary?
Yes.
Hi, Gary. Okay, we're gonna take a quick pause. Gary, will you just take one of these? This is slides, and you can take notes.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
And then just have a seat.
Sure. Thank you.
Can we have an extra one from the
Of course.
Oh, will they?
Okay, so I think all of us are gonna have the question of how do you start, right? You know, this is a big question. What do I do? I'm a little overwhelmed. We are also learning the process. This is very new to us. Okay, so the first thing that I did was took a visit to the planning department of Huntington Beach, and I learned loads of information. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is do that, because again, the codes are changing constantly. Each city has their own requirements. Things can differ as much as, some cities allow you to, have your own address, like the ADU has its own address, and other cities don't want that. So there's little nuances within each city that you need to check your city. And I know we're all Huntington just about, so, but anyway, you definitely wanna go to the planning department, first step, start asking questions, how do you get, what's the process, okay? And then online, there's a lot of information too, of course, Google it, you can find out a lot. So far, does anyone have any questions?
So what's the minimum lot size in Huntington Beach?
Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Because most of us in here are from Huntington Beach, and I was able to visit the planning department there, I did get a lot of information for Huntington Beach current requirements. But again, this was probably a month ago, so things could have even changed since I did this. You are gonna need to get a permit, okay? The dwelling that you build has to comply with the neighborhood. So if you can see it from the street, they're gonna want you to make it look like your existing home, okay?
What about that house on Adams? That doesn't conform to the neighborhood.
On Adams or
That's
Crown
huge.
Reef?
That's-
But that's on an ADU, so that, I don't know. Let's not, yeah, that was crazy. I don't know.
It's assisted living for you.
Okay, the main dwelling or accessory dwelling unit in Huntington Beach must be owner occupied. Now, I wanna say, the other day, Governor Newsom signed in new legislation that said it does not have to be owner occupied, but this was 7 days ago this happened. So I'm gonna just preface this with, your best bet is to follow Huntington code, city codes, if you don't wanna run into, delays. The state is pushing these through hard, and you may have a fight if you wanted to fight that, any of these that have changed. But if you wanted to pass one through quick, your best bet is just to follow the Huntington codes, okay?
So which supersedes,
The state will supersede, and they have attorneys ready to battle cities if they try to fight you on these. If you came in and said, no, I know that I don't have to have, okay, things like that, but if you wanted to slide them through, your best bet is just to follow the city code. Okay, so the minimum setbacks in Huntington Beach right now are your side yard has to be 5 feet from the side yard and 10 feet from the back. And further down, I have 10 feet between the buildings. But even that, the other day, they just passed legislation saying that it's only 4 feet. The state requirement now is 4 feet. So again, if you wanted to battle it, and if you had a property that you really can only fit it with 4 feet setbacks, you may have a case to battle the city, but if you have the room, it's better just to build within their guidelines.
The 7 ADU laws were only signed last Wednesday, so it takes a little while to update.
Right, so the city may actually adjust these eventually, but right now, this is what they have. The maximum height you can build is 15 feet. If the property is located within half a mile of a bus stop, which in most of your cases it is, there's no requirement for additional parking. Okay, but if there's no bus stop, then you're actually supposed to furnish another apartment spot. Then this other little detail, you have to file a covenant for recording with the county recorder within 30 days. And you actually, in Huntington, you have to apply for a new address. Okay, so you will have a unique address for your ADU. And then Huntington already has in place that you cannot rent for less than 3 days anyway, so that's just another thing that they require. Any questions on any of this? No? Okay. So I'm sure you're curious what the typical ADU is gonna cost. The prices are gonna vary based on what you build, okay? You can get super fancy. Say you decided you have a big house and your kids have moved out and you've got this giant house and you're gonna move into your ADU. You may wanna spend a fortune on it and make it amazing. You know, you may wanna go top of the line kitchen, top of the line everything. But if for a standard kind of construction, what we're finding is that a 500 square foot ADU runs between $95,000 and $125,000. Another one that I didn't go over in Huntington, their maximum size is 650 square feet. I don't know if that was on the slide, but okay, I forgot to talk about that. So this would pertain to us 800 square feet. You, right now in Huntington, you wouldn't even be able to build that big, okay? But again, this could change. So, but if you were to build 800 square foot, it would be approximately $150,000 to $200,000, okay? But again, depends on your finishes, your windows, how fancy you go inside. Okay, and then.
So you can, there are people that specialize in small houses, so you can bring this thing here and that would be legal. Yes, those are constructions.
Yeah, and that's what I mentioned below, that there are modular and steel frame panel
yeah.
structures available that can be built flat shipped and constructed, and we have a special guest here that will speak to that later, okay? Okay, next, here. Okay, so I'm sure a big question for you is how will it affect your property taxes? Right now, it's a little bit of an unknown, okay? Again, information is king. I would call your county assessor's office to find out for sure what they're doing. What we understand though is that they're going to take the square footage of the new dwelling and value that as if it's a new purchase, you know, the 125 per square foot, and add that to your existing property taxes. Okay, but again, this is just the messenger. Things change. You would really want to check with your county recorder. And what we heard recently was that it will not trigger a reassessment on your property, but again, I would just say refer to the county assessor to be sure. Okay, so next question would be, of course, how is it going to affect your property value? Okay. Of course, it's going to increase your property value. You've now got a rental unit on your home. Okay, so that's a plus, really big plus to another buyer. Okay. How much it increases your value? It's going to depend, first of all, on the type of ADU that you build. Okay, if you're going to build it within your existing home, you're going to value maybe a kitchen and a new bathroom into your value, but there's no increase in square footage, so it's not as valuable as if you built a new unit. But again, how fancy are you going to make that ADU? Is it top of the line, you know, $5,000 sinks and crazy? Then that's going to be more value than just a standard one. It also depends on your property's location, and there's other factors. But recently I've been speaking with appraisers just to try to get an idea of how they're going to value these. And what they're saying is their appraisal guidelines are that they're supposed to find like for like properties. So they're really required to find another property with